Hello everyone, welcome to the IPR Game Room, and today we're going to talk about Western Hero, rough and ready role-playing. So, by way of transparency here, I am in fact the publisher of Hero Games, so this is a book that I published and helped bring into the world. It is written by Christopher Taylor, based on some original work by Matt Forbeck. Way back in the day, in the 90s, there was a 4th edition Hero system version of Western Hero, and this is a greatly expanded version of the game. It is also a rules inclusive version of the game, so you do not need to own any of the core rule books for Hero System 6th edition to play it. It comes with all the rules necessary to play a Western Hero campaign. So those of you who are familiar with Hero Games know that Hero Games is one of probably the 4 great legacy generic universal role-playing systems. Besides Hero, you have GURPS, you have Savage Worlds, and you have D20 as sort of widespread, widely paid universal systems. I'm somewhat biased, but I think that Hero is the best in many ways in terms of being a rule system that moves effortlessly from one genre to another. And Christopher has put a lot of love and attention into this book. It essentially covers the Old West period as it's largely understood from roughly the end of the Civil War to, I don't think he uses the hanging of Tom Horn as the end of the Old West, but there's some similar thing he uses in it. Like most of the sorts of hero publications that are somewhere specifically in time, it has a very large timeline detailing kind of the history of the Old West. Much like Pulp Hero has a Pulp era timeline, Golden Age Champions has a Golden Age era timeline, that sort of thing. It contains complete rules for making characters, a lot of GMing information, a lot of setting information. We'll come back to that because when I say a lot of setting information, I mean a lot of setting information. And a really exhaustive in-book setting for Deadwood around the time of the TV series. That's extremely exhaustively detailed. I mean, it's very good. You really have details down to who lives in what building and what kind of business has been run here and who goes there and who from other things go there. So if you're looking to sort of take some Western characters and sink them in great detail into an Old West town, it's quite thorough. It has a particular focus as an Old West game, which is on kind of cinematic, kind of a mix between realistic Old West and cinematic Old West. So obviously, the author had a great love of the genre of Western movies and TV, as, to be transparent, do I. So there's really an attempt to both capture the feel of something like The Rifleman, or Have Gun Will Travel, or any of these sort of Old West TV shows, in its sort of purest form, in its in-book form, kind of combined with a kind of an attempt to capture some gritty Western realism. But there are optional setting modes, like about a half a dozen of them, ranging from extremely non-realistic to sort of ultra gritty to sort of being the bad guys, sort of Owl Hoot Trail bad guy settings. He gives a bunch of optional kind of ways you can turn the dial of Western Hero to play different sorts of gaming. I was saying that it was exhaustive with source information, and I mean exhaustive. There is an enormous discussion of housing in the Old West. There's an enormous discussion of horses. I mean, like, I'd have to say more horse discussion than any other Hero product in its 40-year history. Or is it 50-year history? 40-year history. It has an extensive selection of sort of firearms done in Hero rules. A lot of discussions of how sort of skills work in the Old West genre. A lot of different package deals you can get, from Mountain Man to Gunfighter to Soldier to Native American Brave. There's like a huge discussion of different sorts of characters you can play. And there is a significant amount of GM advice, as I mentioned before. It's really very completist. Now, it's not. It is again a very gamist simulationist game, because all hero games are. I'm not saying there's no storytelling or narrativism in it. There is storytelling in every role-playing game, but it's more focused around building a realistic, or somewhat realistic, because you've seen westerns. It's a realistic character that then goes out and does mechanical things in a consistent world, with sort of an eye to kind of outrageous, leaning towards the cinematic, but it isn't a storytelling game per se. It is very focused in the way that hero games are focused around mechanics and stun and body points, and how much damage does a 45 lever action rifle do as compared to like a black powder 60 caliber rifle, that kind of thing. There's like a lot of detail with that. There has been a lot of time and attention taken in collaboration with the author to make sure that the work is, to the best of our ability, sensitive, especially to Native Americans. We went over this a great deal, and we were fortunate in having Hero alumni Reuben Smith-Simple, who is Native American, do a sensitivity reading of it, as well as several of us here at Indie Press Revolution. So we were very grateful for Reuben's help with that. And we're satisfied with the results. It was a lot of work by the author, and then a fair amount of follow-up work by us thinking about it. And we think you'll like it. Check it out. Western Hero, Rough and Ready Role-Playing. Available here at Indie Press Revolution. Follow us on social media at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribe to our newsletter. And remember, gamers, what do you do when you're branded and you're doomed to walk the West? You're branded! Gamers, that was a TV series from the 50s, Branded. Like, that was the theme song. What do you do when you're branded?